Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey. You guys are talking about it in the comments section. It's all everyone's talking about on social media, so we're going to give you what you want. Trade rumors heavy on today's Rumors Roundup. We begin with the one everybody wants. That's a Jamal Adams trade. I will continue to give it 1 star. I love the idea. I'm all for it. I want it to happen, but I don't see it happening, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I also don't want to, give false hope and say, well, sure, it's going to happen when it's really not going to. You guys want Adams on the Cowboys. I want him on the Cowboys. Everybody that's smart, at least, wants Jamal Adams to come to Dallas. But it's all speculation and wish and desires. There's no signs the Jets want to move Jamal Adams. I'd love Quentin Nelson on the Cowboys, too. Colts aren't going to trade him. The price tag in the end for a Jamal Adams trade is going to be about the Jalen Ramsey trade, i.e. 2 first-round picks and probably some change. Would the Cowboys pay that? I'm not actually sure that they would. Would the Jets even accept it? I'm not even sure that they would. So as much as I would love Jamal Adams on the Dallas Cowboys, and hopefully I am wrong on this, I'm just not going to give it much credibility or say it's going to end up happening. So Jamal Adams is my dream trade target. I'll ask you guys now, and feel free to throw in any player you want. I am not going to have any regulations of, it has to be realistic or has to make sense. Not anything you want. Your dream trade target. I see Ben throwing in Patrick Peterson. Clay just says a run-stuffing defensive tackle. I see Sue on there. Let me know in the comments your dream trade target. I see Aaron Donald. That's a great one, too. And again, focusing on dreams here. Lots of Aaron Donalds. That makes sense. Next up on the trade side of things, how about a Vic Beasley trade? Maybe I should give this 2, but I am actually very much against it. Therefore, my show, 1 star. I don't like this idea. I don't think it makes sense for the Cowboys. Couple of reasons. Number 1, I know Vic Beasley is a name. I understand that, Vic Beasley, first-round pick, he had 15.5 sacks a couple years ago. And although Sports Illustrated guesses and says, it's a trade we think we'll see, I bet we don't see this trade. Doubt it. The production does not match what you would have to pay. Vic Beasley cost $12.8 million this year in base salary. And the Cowboys would only owe about half that. Again, I am rounding here, so we'll just say 6.5 because it's actually more than half. I'm not going to pay $6.5 million for a guy who simply isn't generating pressures. I've tried to make the point before, sacks, they're inconsistent. They're streaky. It's not a great metric from game to game, week to week, year to year about how effective somebody is at pressuring the quarterback. Vic Beasley, by the way, has 1.5 sacks this year. That 8% pressure rate, which is not good, by the way, that's worse than every single Cowboys pass rusher. DeMarcus Lawrence, Kerry Hyder, Robert Quinn, Dorrance Armstrong, Joe Jackson. Those guys are getting to the quarterback at a better rate than Vic Beasley is for the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm not paying most of those guys $6 million. Best case scenario, Vic Beasley becomes your number 3 or number 4 pass rusher. Why would I pay $6 million for that? Now, I am down to reevaluate Vic Beasley in free agency because he's not going to be back with the Atlanta Falcons next year. And if he wants to come in for $2 or $3 million, well, that's a discussion I'm happy to have. But trading for him right now, paying him money, and giving away a draft pick asset, I'm not interested in that at all. Now, what position do you guys want the Cowboys to trade for? I saw some comments in there about a run-stuffing defensive tackle. Heck, I wouldn't mind Geno Atkins, but I haven't heard much about him right now. Actually being traded. I see a nose tackle in there. I see others in there. I see safety, of course. That's not a surprise in there. Let me know in the comments section, what position do you want Dallas to trade for? I also someone said Patrick Mahomes in there from Barrett. That's a dream target. If you want to get better at the most important position, who am I to argue? All right, more trade rumors here. How about Tyler Eifert? I'll give this one 2 stars. I think it makes some sense. I also don't consider it likely right now. I like the idea of getting tight end help. This comes to us from USA Today, who threw it out there as a target there. Look, what do we know about Cincinnati? They're bungling it hard right now. They're terrible. They are not a good football team. And Eifert is talented, and I wanted Eifert in free agency, and then Jason Witten came back. And the pitch here was that, Eifert is an extra insurance policy in case somebody gets hurt, although Eifert himself is also always hurt and always injured. So Eifert, I think, makes some sense for the Cowboys. I also don't foresee the Cowboys getting involved in a bidding war for a tight end. Now, I think it could work, but I don't think it's the best idea there. Now, the Cowboys right now, they have Jason Witten, they have Blake Jarwin. I'm intrigued by that idea. KD Drummond throw out a 5th-round pick. It's about right. Way better than the ideas I've seen of a 3rd-round pick for Vic Beasley. Hard pass. Absolutely no. My biggest problem with it is does Eifert play over Jason Witten? With the way the Cowboys operate, probably not. I don't think that's the route they end up going. And in that case, I'd just keep that 5th-round pick. He'd be better than Dalton Schultz, but are you really trying to upgrade your number 3/number 2 tight end in a big, big way? I don't think so. Now, I know Eifert's numbers aren't that great, but it's the Bengals offense. They're not very good. So I'm open to the idea of Tyler Eifert, but I don't think it's the best idea for the Dallas Cowboys. I'd rather target a defensive tackle. Now, we'll get back to the trade rumors here in just a second, plus some Dak Prescott discussion. But we had a special guest stop by the studio earlier today. The Cowboys might be on bye, but Mick from Kashiyama is not. She is back once again for an NFC's preview. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for continuing to invite me.
All right, let's dive in here. The Giants and the Lions, New York on the road, Detroit, a 6.5-point favorite. What are you thinking from this one, Mick?
Well, I mean, with Giants having 3 straight losses, I'm going to have to go with Lions in this one because it is going to be at home in Detroit. So I'm going 24-17.
I think the Cowboys fans will like that one. The Giants have had some issues, like you mentioned, of late. Daniel Jones has suddenly started to turn the ball over in a big, big way. Now, we told you guys about this last week, but the deal is still up. If you want a chance to win a free blazer from Kashiyama, like Mick and I are actually both wearing right now, obviously different blazers, just so we're clear on that, go follow Kashiyama on Instagram. They are at Kashiyama Tailors. Go follow them. We'll get the link in the chat for you guys right now. Hey, they make custom-fitted suits. These prices start at the same as the other major men's chains. Go follow them at Kashiyama Tailors on Instagram. Oh, by the way, if you DM them Cowboys, you actually get 2 entries into that one. Of course, there is no Cowboys game this week, but the Eagles are playing fresh off a loss to the Dallas Cowboys, which feels good to say out loud. They're taking on the Bills. What are you thinking from this one?
I mean, I've just got to start with a big oof for the Eagles defense going from plain bad to just disappointing. So I am absolutely going to have to take Buffalo in this one. I'm going 21-17.
The Bills have had a really good defense this year. You've got a low-scoring affair, but you think just enough for Buffalo, which is good for the Cowboys, of course.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Now, did you follow Kashiyama on Instagram? If you guys did, type me in the comments section. Get those going. We'll give some shout-outs here potentially as well. In the meantime, Mick, tell more about Kashiyama.
Absolutely. So we are a Japanese made-to-measure men's suiting company. That means that this is customized to you. This is not an off-the-rack situation. Prices, like he said, $300 is where the starting point is. So definitely worth every penny for you to look like $1 million, right?
Absolutely. All right, my wife appreciates the way I look now, too. So, all right, guys, keep the me's coming in the comments section. We'll get back to the rumors. And everyone, thank Vic for stopping by. All right, big ups there to Eric and Dylan and others there for typing in there. Me and Barrett, I saw you too. Let's move on to Joe Looney as a possible trade here for the Dallas Cowboys. And a trade away, I am open to the discussion of it. I also don't think it's the best idea for the Dallas Cowboys, so I'll give it 2 stars. And you guys know me. I love talking trades. I'm always open to it. Ask my fantasy league. But for Looney, he has proven he can be a replacement starter. I think that has value, maybe even more so to the Cowboys than other teams out there. And the Cowboys have shown this year in particular, they value offensive line depth. They took Connor McGovern. All right, they kept Adam Redmond around on this roster. So what's more valuable to the Cowboys in the end? A backup interior offensive lineman and a solid one, if not really good one, in Joe Looney, or a 5th-round pick, because I don't think you're going to get more than that for Looney in the last year of his deal. I think at that point, maybe you just keep the backup offense lineman, even though teams tend to overvalue draft picks overall. Now, the one area where maybe you go, this could change a little bit. Joe Looney, his contract's up after this year. You're probably not going to get much of a comp pick for him. And, in theory, you're going to get Connor McGovern back off of IR in the near future if the Cowboys want. So, no update for you on that, but we're getting closer and closer to that being the time frame here for the Dallas Cowboys. So you might need to free up a roster spot. So let me know in the comments section. Is there anyone you want the Cowboys to trade away? I already see an Anthony Brown in there. I see some no's. Reckless Matt says yes. If you guys are saying yes, let me know the player. I guess I didn't really specify that, but I was looking for a particular player in mind there. Mitchell says Dak. Mitchell, I gave him the bird. Don't worry, guys. I got you covered. Now, speaking of Dak Prescott, how about Dak Prescott for MVP? I think he should be in the discussion. 3 stars on this one. Dak Prescott has been fantastic this year. Now, the biggest problem with this idea is that MVP candidates have to be on winning football teams. You can put out the best numbers ever, doesn't mean you're going to win the MVP. But we also know the MVP typically goes to a player who exceeded their expectations a little bit more than we anticipated. And Prescott is in the midst of a fantastic season this year. So I'm not saying he should win the MVP. It's way too early to decide that, or that he's even the MVP frontrunner right now. But I think Dak Prescott should be in that discussion. His numbers this year have been really, really good. And not just his normal stats. These are his normal numbers, and they've been solid to really great. 2,000-plus yards. I know that 7 receptions are there, but I think those will come back down. So should Dak be an MVP candidate? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comments section. I say yes. I also agree with Ajay. You have to go 12 or 4 or somewhere in that range. I think 11 and 5 is good enough there. But should Dak be an MVP candidate? If you're typing in no, well, I do have some other stats here that maybe could help change your mind. They say Dak Prescott's not accurate. Well, here's the thing. These are his completion percentage above expectation, i.e., how accurate is Dak Prescott to the rest of the NFL based on completion percentage? So what this number is, okay, normal quarterbacks complete this amount. Dak Prescott leads the NFL at 8.1% in the NFL this year. That's where he's at right now. We can get to the passing yards per game as well here in just a second, because he's been fantastic in that area. It's not that Dak Prescott's throwing a bunch of short check down passes. No. Dak Prescott, folks, is averaging over 300 yards per game, which is pretty crazy since last year the whole narrative was, oh, Dak's not completing any yards. He's throwing for nothing, a bunch of dink and dunk passes. If you still believe that, you're kind of a crazy person there. Now, the QBR leaders. This is ESPN stat. And maybe you're saying, well, Tom, Dak hasn't played anybody. That's not the case. QBR adjusts for completion percentage, or adjusts for opponents there. That's what ESPN does. So this is against all opponents, and it's weight adjusted. So you play a bad team, that's factored in. Dak Prescott's still number 1 in the NFL at 79%. And maybe you still believe the myth that Dak Prescott misses too many targets, and yeah, the completion percentage is high, but the accuracy's not that good. Well, that's not the case. That is not the case for Dak Prescott. So we'll get to that on-target percentage logo graphic here in just a second. But Dak Prescott has been accurate. He has been on target with his passes so far this year. Here are the NFL league leaders in on-target pass percentage. Dak Prescott, and this is all publicly available, Sports Info Solutions, minimum of 3 games played. Dak Prescott, NFL's most accurate quarterback. If you still believe the Daccuracy myth, I don't know what to tell you anymore. I don't know what to say. Dak Prescott is accurate. He has completed a high percentage of his passes. These are not dink and dunk passes either. He is top 10, actually top 7, in average depth of target. So Dak Prescott, unlike maybe Derek Carr, who has a very short depth of field, and Drew Brees too, Dak's throwing it deep downfield, and they've been on target. So if you think Dak isn't accurate, I think it's not that your eyes are telling you wrong, because all players miss throws here. But I think your expectations need to be readjusted, because you're asking way too much of any quarterback. Now, today's show was also brought to you by BetDSI. If you can bet on Dak to win MVP, the odds are pretty good right now. He's all the way down at like 28-1. That's pretty good odds there. Chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, they're going to give you an extra $60 for free. It's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120. All right, the last rumor here, what I know you guys are going to love, right? Jeff Heath is the best veteran contract on the Cowboys. Is it though? I'm gonna give it 2 stars. I've been on the show before saying Jeff Heath is a good contract. He's a cheap starter at less than $3 million in the last year of his deal. It's been a good contract for the Cowboys, but to call it the best veteran contract, I'm not really on board with that. Look, it's tricky because if you're not including players on the first year of their deal, or first contract, I should say, which what ESPN did, the options are actually very limited because you still technically can't even include Jalen Smith or Leo Collins because both those guys extended their own deals and they're still on those first contracts. I think Tyron Smith's deal is still very team friendly because you can get out of it easily. So I would go that route, but there really aren't that many options here for the Cowboys in terms of value on veteran contracts. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.